Hey guys, it's Nathan with Exploring Coin Shops, and today I'm here at American Metal Exchange down in Tampa. There's the address, and we're here to interview the owner, Elijah. So let's go say, hey Elijah, how's it going today?
What's up, guys?
Well, welcome to the channel. Thank you for having me down at your shop here. It's a great little shop. Now it's the first video, so let's introduce yourself. So tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you get into this? What got you into it? Things like that.
So we've been here about 30 years, and I got into it about 9 years ago. It's my father's company, and it started off as a pawn shop, and I kind of transformed it into a coin/pawn store. So we do a little bit of everything. We got some bullion, stuff like that, fun stuff, but pretty generic. Mainly we do a lot of jewelry repair and stuff like that.
So how'd you move from the jewelry into the bullion side? Was that something your dad was already doing somewhat of, or you?
No, not at all. It was more so I kind of found that niche and kind of figured it out. He really didn't deal much in coins or bullion at all, but I found a little knack for it, and it's worked out ever since.
So what kind of drew you into the field of the bullion style? Versus like the other side of it?
It's more market driven. It just seems to be, it gets more traffic flow because it brings in, I would say, more of the male audience, which therefore brings in their wives and kids for jewelry. It kind of all correlates together in one, if that makes sense.
Now, you being strictly more in the bullion side, with the markets going the way they are, how do you feel your business has been? Do you feel like, what do you think the trends are going to be in the future with this market and so on for that kind of stuff?
Well, it can be good and bad. I mean, it's good because the price is going up, therefore we're making more money, but the problem is the cost to rebuy it back is more. So we're kind of evening out if you really look at it from a profit standpoint. So I'm going to buy it either way. It doesn't really affect me too much. It's more for the consumer. It's kind of pushing out small investors, and that's where it kind of, our bread and butter is these small transactions that we do, which kind of build relationships with people over time, which, is how I've been here for 30 years for so long.
So that was a good point you just brought up. So since the price has gotten so much higher, you said you're seeing a lot of your smaller investors kind of thinking, so you're saying a lot of them are saying that this is like their cap out point?
Right, or they transition more into silver based because it's 80-to-1 ratio right now, which is most people struggle to afford a $4,000 gold coin versus they can spend $400 or $500 on a 10-ounce bar or 5-ounce bar. Just it really depends their budget.
And where do you feel like, as being someone in your mid-20s, you're a younger guy in this game, you're more of the tech-savvy kind of group side of it. What do you feel like you think is your prediction? Like, this is probably for you, this is the first time you've ever seen gold and silver this high. Like for your dad, he's been through this before, but this is your first time going through this experience. What do you feel like the market's do you think it's gonna stay strong? Do you think there's gonna be a little bit of a pullback at some point?
I mean, no one wants to buy at the all-time high. That's kind of what I've always been under the assumption. But every time I think something's going to happen, it does the exact opposite. I would say it's probably a good buy. It's a long-term investment. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. I mean, if anybody's going to sell you that, they're probably not the person to do business with. So that's kind of my take on it. I'm kind of in the middle.
Now, with that being saying, like majority of your marketing is still silver and gold, and you're thinking you're going to stay a buyer constantly, it sounds like, regardless of the ups and the lows. Do you feel like the advice you give to people, what kind of advice do you feel like you give them to say, are you telling them like you stay in it as long as you like, or you feel like you're telling people like, what kind of advice would you like to give to the general public about the bullion market?
I stay in the middle. I really I ask them questions more so than guide them, and I don't tell them to hold it long term, sell it short term. I'm just a merchant at this point. I'm not a financial advisor. I kind of just sell the product and do it that way.
You get to see a lot of the cool stuff. Like right now in your shop, what would you feel is like the cool or your more popular selling items right now in hand?
I'd say definitely bullion, but the coolest item I have is I have a MS66 cact Carson City, which is kind of neat. Really pretty.
May I?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ooh, that is gorgeous, guys. This is a good looking 66 cact. 84cc. So you do lend to some of the collector style coins as well. You're not just strictly just bullion.
Absolutely, yeah, we do it all.
He does it all, guys. And he does have a nice little variety of different cool stuff here, guys. He's got some nice large bills. Like I said, if there's anything you guys do see, you can always give him a call. I'll put his phone number in the listings for in the description down below, things like that. So, also one question I like to ask: as a person that does deal in silver and gold yourself, are you a buyer and you sit on your own supply of it as well? You have your own little collection.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt, yeah. Because I think it's a hedge against the dollar, and you know, even, no matter what you can afford, you should always be putting a little bit of silver and gold away.
So encouraging younger kids, like like I said, you're in your early 20s. It's something you recommend doing for anybody if they have a little extra cash on the side to do.
Absolutely, yeah. My friends do it all the time. I mean, I tell them, you know, I'm not saying put all your money into silver and gold, but definitely put 25-30% of your free money into it, no doubt.
Of your age group and your friends, you say, how many majority do they take your advice and actually do it?
My close friends, they take my advice. I mean, I really don't talk to people I don't know that well about it because, like I said, I don't like to advise people on their financial decisions. If they ask, I'll tell them, and you know, kind of, like I said, I'm more in the middle.
And also on the younger crowd group, how many people that come into your store would you say are in that younger majority age group?
Recently, quite a bit because everyone's seeing the price go up. I would say it's probably 15 to 20%, anywhere from 25 to 35 range. So that's kind of, I would say more of the older generation is selling because they probably bought it when silver was $12, $15, and $17 an ounce.
So you are, that was a good question I was going to ask. So you are seeing people that have, like you said, probably bought it at a really good price and now selling since the market is at the probably highest right now. So you're all seeing people doing profit sharing.
Absolutely, because they feel like their life is towards the end of, you know, they're exiting their investments, so they're trying to cash in and, you know, take a profit, which I don't blame them. They deserve it. They sat on it for many years, so.
And with the pricing, like a question I want to ask, a lot of people ask this one too, is with the pricing being so high, does that affect how you play your inventory? Are you playing more conservative on it and just kind of, are you trying to say to a certain, say, you don't have to say the number, but it's saying, are you trying to stay close to a certain number of amount that you're trying to keep in store without extending yourself too far?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent. I mean, it just depends with what is selling that particular month or week. It is how we kind of do it. We have a set amount of inventory and we try to grow it each time, but I would say right now probably it's a good ratio of probably 60-40 to gold to silver right now, but it could change, you know, we never know. One customer can change it, and that's kind of how we do it.
And for you guys, your majority of your receiving, are you going out looking for product, or you think most of your products coming into you like in the gold and silver?
A little bit of both. I mean, there is stuff that moves really well here and there's stuff that doesn't, which is why I do tend to go to shows and move inventory that way and meet new people that are specifically looking for stuff that might not do very well in here, such as certain numismatics that might sit in here for a while will do really well at shows, which is why that it can be a little bit different. You know, we're not going to stock 100 Carson Cities, you know, versus a couple thousand ounces of silver. It's just really what's selling at that particular time.
So speaking of these like shows, is there any other platforms that you think are great platforms to use in our industry? Do you feel like getting on Facebook is a good way, Instagram? Do you feel like any of those are kind of a good way to go versus just, you know, in-store only?
You mean for buying or for
selling mainly, sorry.
Me selling or the public selling?
You selling.
So I think Whatnot's not a bad one. I don't have the time to do that, but I know people who do it are very successful at it, and it has shown to be profitable, I think. But the problem is with that is there is fees associated with it when our margins are so small on Bullion that it can affect that a little bit. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, so when it comes to Bullion side, you're saying that in-store is probably your better method of selling out versus trying to go on to a Whatnot or even a eBay of some sorts.
Yes.
Because your margins are probably less than what the fees on those sites are charging.
Especially for Bullion. Numismatics, I would say that's probably the opposite. I would say online is the best. For jewelry, in store does pretty well. We do a little bit online with jewelry, but we have a strong market here for that. I mean, we've been here for such a long time, so we have our regulars that come in towards the end of the year, and we've kind of, keep to ourselves.
That's nice to hear that, family ran, family owned. Well, let's talk about one thing one thing I like to do is I buy a silver round of some sorts or something. What interesting piece do you have that we can buy to give away?
Let's take a look.
Let's take a walk. Like I said, guys, you got a little bit of everything here.
This is pretty interesting.
Oh, guys, I like this.
Half ounce.
Half ounce. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this is going to be our giveaway. And what we're going to do this time around is just be subscribed. Last time it was you had to leave a message. This time just be subscribed to the channel and watch. And you'll have a chance to win this. This is looks like a poured little half ounce.
Mm-hmm.
MK Bars, well known out in California. So this is going to be the giveaway. So be aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll put that to the side and we'll pay up on that later. We'll just put that right there. So with it, Elijah, getting back to certain stuff, do you have any idea of what you think? Well, the question more is like, do you think art bars like that one is kind of a cool thing to get into for certain people? Or do you feel like just sticking more to your close to most, price-wise is
Generic
better?
silver.
Yeah.
I would say it's really preference. I mean, there is quite a bit of premium on this. So for an investment purpose, I would say I tend to lean towards generic just because, you want to buy as close to the spot price as you can to make money. That's kind of the game. But again, people like to give these as gifts to people, and it's just cool stuff that you just, would never think that would be silver. And that's where I think people get a love for it, is they see the cool designs and they collect them, and they enjoy it.
I have the confession. I come to him and he gets some cool silvers in, and I tend to buy a lot of them from him. So I actually have one put away for me right now. So I actually tend to go towards the more art bar style, collector style stuff versus just because that's what I enjoy. But
right. Well, your money's always good here.
yeah. Elijah, what would you say is a way of going about if you're looking, you're talking to somebody, and you suggest something to them? If we talked just a little bit briefly about it, you say, hey, put X amount into silver or put X amount into gold. Do you feel that at some point they should kind of trade up in a sense? Do you feel like that's a good way of doing some stuff? Like say you start with silver, they stacked a good couple $100 worth of silver. Would you recommend some people sometimes taking that silver, trading it in towards maybe gold or something different, or just buy what you can?
I'd say buy what you can, because when you trade up, you're gonna take a hit because there is a little bit of buyback. We do trade in the silvers, and then you have to pay a premium for the gold. So the smart play would be just to keep the silver, then buy the gold as you can, as you can afford it. But with that being said, I do see people trading, because gold is all-time high and they're making such good margins on it. They're trading the gold for, silver, because silver is not quite as high as its all-time high. So there is that. It's really just preference at the end of the day, though.
So a lot of people, you feel like you're seeing in this in your industry, they're buying out the silver because they think the silver is underrated still, and they're buying that. Do you have any people coming in looking for maybe platinum or anything like that?
I sold out of platinum yesterday. I had a couple Eagles, and I don't have anything left. I mean, it's either it does really well or it sits for a little bit. It just depends. It's kind of an underrated metal in my opinion. I mean, I think it now, because it's gone up $300 or $400 in the last 2 months. Now people are starting to see that it does have it does kind of move a little bit, but it's been pretty stagnant for the last 15 years. So that's kind of I think what's led people not to buy it. But.
And the interesting thing about platinum we don't talk about a lot is actually platinum's actually rarer than gold.
Yes.
But yet it's still undervalued than gold, which is
even
crazy.
in jewelry, sometimes you see platinum pieces that are much more expensive than if it was made in white gold, just because the labor is more intensive and it's a tougher metal to work with than cast into jewelry. So.
Very cool. And On that, talking about it, they do jewelry here too as well, guys. They do jewelry, and he's not just a bullion, like you said. They started as a pawn shop, and they've moved into the bullion side and whatnot. Of stuff you have, like of the silver side of things, do you think that eagles are better to have versus like the silver rounds? Do you think that some people will argue that point is that, you know, having a coin with a currency on it, let me just put an easier way of saying it, you know, your maple leafs, your cougarans, anything like that is a better buy than just silver rounds. Is that something you kind of see some people arguing about too as well, or?
Definitely, because I mean, when you travel overseas anyway, there is a dollar amount on the eagle versus the buffalo. There is no dollar amount, so they can kind of avoid certain legal, you know, money. I forget the term, but it's. I think you have to have under 10,000 to travel overseas, and that can kind of be into effect. How do you evaluate a coin? You know, is it really worth $1, or is it worth what the market value is? I mean, that's how they kind of, you know, stack that way. But in my opinion, I would say the premium on silver eagles is about the same as a generic 1 ounce buffalo right now. So, you know, when we were getting $10, $12 over spot for eagles, I would say probably not, just because that's quite a bit over spot and probably not a good investment at that point. But now it's not too bad. I would say it's probably the better buy.
So you feel like that, so then them being kind of close to the same is just you rather go with one versus the other. If they're closer when the premium's higher, saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was going this way.
Yeah.
Now with certain other metals like platinum, mainly you see probably what, American stuff, platinum, you don't really see off-brand stuff? All right, so back to talking about platinum there. Do you see it mainly in the form of like U.S. coinage, or do you see it also in other forms as well?
I see it in all forms. I mean, from eagles, maples, bars. I mean, there's really no specific mint that I deal with only.
Now with a lot of like the smaller stuff, you know, like American, we're talking about gold eagles here, and maybe even platinum eagles, the smaller ones actually still carry a little bit of a premium, correct?
Yes, very much so. Certain dates are very rare too. I mean, it just depends.
With that, so okay. So with that said, what about other metals? You know, you hear about like rhodium and palladium. It's not really as technically precious metals, but they kind of can say they are rhodium and such. Are those some kind of an area that you should stay away from? I know the U.S. puts out that palladium coin.
Yeah, I just know the premium on those are very high, and I honestly don't see it very often, so I don't really know if I have an answer for that one. I would say because of how hard it is to find, it's when we buy it back, I'm sure the buyback is a little bit more than gold or silver. But again, I think it's preference. I mean, if they like it, they like it.
That's a point you brought up, and you can talk about it in silver too. Sometimes you see it like the premiums on certain silvers, like your bigger silvers, your 100-ounce bars. Right. You notice that they're a little, when people buy back, we buy back a little bit more because of the issue of people wanting it. It's harder to get rid of a 100-ounce bar.
Right.
So in the advice for people, where do you tend to see people buying ounces wise? Do you say 1s, 5s, 10s? Would you say those are good places to buy?
I would say for a smaller investor, the 1s and 10s are probably the most popular, just because of the easiest to cash back in. The 100-ounce bars are fine. I think if you have, you know, when silver was $12 an ounce, it was affordable. Now it's kind of tough to buy it all at once. But the premium on them is about the same as any other generic bullion right now, and the buyback is almost the same because premiums are down when metals go up.
Now with the metals going up, do you ever feel like you think you'll see those premiums again, or do you only see the premiums when silver's low?
Yeah, I think it's market depending. It can kind of vary. I mean, when the premiums go up, usually the market's down. So that's kind of always the determination that I've kind of made. So
right now, since the premiums are so high, I mean the gold and silver price is high, premiums are no existence right now.
Exactly.
Well, Elijah, it's a busy day here at your shop. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I appreciate the information on the bullion markets and what to. Guys, like I said, I'll drop all of his information down below. He's got some really cool stuff in store. I'm not 100% sure if you ship.
Probably, I guess I could, yes.
He
Not
said
normally.
he could. We'll convince him. You guys convince him for me. Call him and want some. So down below, I'll leave your all your information. Once again, we're at American Metal Exchange. And Elijah, thanks so much for your information. Till next time.
Till next time. Thank you.
God bless America.